On today's show, we're taking a look at ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum's NFL mock draft. Now, most mock drafts, including the ones that I do, are based on what we think NFL teams will do. Tannenbaum is doing it based on what he would do if he were that team's NFL GM. In years past, these mocks have been insane, and they've just been wild picks like Hendon Hooker going fifth overall or something. This year, not as crazy, but also still some really weird picks that don't make any sense to me. We'll break them down to the good and the bad on today's show. And this video is going up first on demand on the Chat Sports NFL Draft channel. A lot of videos going up over there now, too, as we keep growing and expanding. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/chatNFL, to get more NFL draft-focused videos. Tannenbaum has Cam Ward going number 1 overall, acknowledging he's not ready to write off Will Levis as NFL starter yet, which actually I am. Sorry, Will. But this is also both like pretty realistic, where it certainly sounds like Ward is the likely pick at number 1 overall. Number 2, Shedeur Sanders, the cornerback wide receiver. Now, Tannenbaum says the Browns need corner and receiver help. I don't know if they actually need corner help, frankly. And the Browns have kind of intimated they think that Hunter is a receiver more than anything else. But I think he can do both. I'd probably play him at corner and then give him 24 plays on offense per game and profit from that standpoint. But nothing overly shocking yet. Giants taking Shedeur Sanders at number 3 overall. Again, this one doesn't surprise very many people right now. I will say that Tannenbaum's a big fan of Shedeur Sanders. Got him as a top 15 quarterback, he thinks, in the NFL. I don't think that's actually that crazy of a take. I think that's like why you would take somebody at number 3 overall at minimum. But I just acknowledge what Tannenbaum has to say here. The Shedeur Sanders range is going to be very interesting to me. He could go 2. He could go 3. I know ESPN's Jordan Reed mentions he's not going to get past 7. Or there's, the slide. It happens. Aaron Rodgers slid. Brady Quinn slid. Jimmy Clausen fell a lot. Who do you think in the end ends up drafting Shedeur Sanders? It is the pinned comment on today's video. So if that ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Here's the first surprise pick. Armand Membou to the Patriots at number 4. Now, this is a surprise because Abdul is on the board here. This feels like taking the bigger need over the better player. Even though I like Membou a lot, I think he could make some sense if only one QB goes in those first 3 picks and Hunter and Carter are gone. But I can't get on board with passing on Abdul, who does go number 5 to Jacksonville. Now you got a lot of fun stuff with Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker all grouped together. That would be, I think, the ideal dream scenario for Jacksonville is somehow one of Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter slide down to number 5. Number 6, Ashton Jeanty. Again, this has been a very popular mock draft pick, so nothing too crazy from Tannenbaum on this one. Kind of acknowledging some of the Marshawn Lynch, Pete Carroll stuff in Seattle, but the Raiders need a running back or receiver, so this does make sense to me. Will Campbell, number 7. Again, I don't know if he is a tackle. The arm length and the wingspan even more so are profoundly short. That's going to be a concern. Do you put him on the right side? What do you do with Olu Fashanu? That's what kind of why I like Membou so much at 7. Like Membou just plays right tackle and you're locked in there with your bookend tackles. But I think like pure offensive talent, whether he's a guard or a center maybe, I think Campbell's one of the best players in this year's class. Jalon Walker, which I actually like this fit a lot too. I like the edge linebacker flexibility where you can kind of build your defense around Jalon Walker, because outside of Derek Brown, like the Panthers don't have a lot of like hardcore, like locked in pieces of like where you build your defense around. So you can kind of drop him in and focus your defense around Jalon Walker. Mykel Williams. So look, I am not as high on him. I know the ankle injury was an issue, but if I'm taking someone in the top 10, I do get a bit hesitant having to go, yeah, the production's bad, but. Like, I don't want to have to make that my pitch. So I am not as I'm not as high on Mykel Williams. Saints could use an edge, so I get that. But this is personal preference, flavors of ice cream type of stuff. This is great value for Chicago. Mason Graham goes number 10 here. He also mentioned, by the way, Tyler Warren and Josh Simmons as options for Chicago. Graham at 10, I think, is incredible value. I think a lot of Bears fans would be very happy with that pick. Now, Tannenbaum acknowledges that I have lots of holes. It's fair. I like Will Johnson a lot. I am not going to let a half season of inconsistent play ruin a guy that I saw be great as a true freshman at Michigan. Like, I'm not going to – people made that mistake with Derek Stingley. I'm not saying Will Johnson is as good as Derek Stingley. I don't think he is. But I'm not going to make that same mistake of letting a small recent sample size override the entire big picture. T-Mac, Tedero, McMillan going 12 to the Dallas Cowboys. This makes all the sense in the world to me. My theme of approval is kind of all I have to add on that one. Josh Simmons at 13 is weird. Tannenbaum, I guess, loves him because he says that the value is great. I don't know that it is. The Dolphins just drafted Patrick Paul last year with the intent of making him the left tackle once Terron Armstead officially retires and calls it a career. So adding another tackle in round 1, I don't understand it. I love this pick too. Tyler Warren at Penn State, Indiana, both a popular regular mock draft pick and one I think it makes so much sense of getting a position of need and a high-end impact player. Now you can get NFL jerseys available now over at chatsports.com/NFL jersey. Every NFL team, if you want to wait and get the rookie jersey for your new favorite, for your team drafts, your new favorite player potentially, they'll be available at chatsports.com/NFL jersey. Officially licensed NFL jerseys for all the teams. Plus, Marvin Harrison is now available. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Number 14, Kenneth Grant, who I like, and I get that the Falcons lost Grady Jarrett. I understand that. I acknowledge it. I think not taking an edge when there are, I think, very good edges on the board here. I can't get on board with that for a team that did just, draft Zach Harrison in the third and Ruka Rororo in the second and has David Onomata and didn't get any good pass rush. Like, I think I would look at pass rush first, but I do love the athletic ability that Kenneth Grant offers. Matthew Golden to the Cardinals. Probably not a very common mock draft pick, but I actually get it. Golden and McBride and Harrison, you can kind of reduce the pressure on Mykel Wilson to be a receiver too. Maybe a bit of luxury pick, but I understand what they're going for there. Edge rusher for Cincinnati. Makes sense. The James Pierce kind of like focus character stuff could be a red flag. I think the talent's really intriguing. He's bad against the run, though. Tennessee didn't really play him out there, and that would also, I think, be a pretty big concern for Cincinnati. Now, Seattle doesn't like investing in guards early. I think they have to change that, so I love this pick by Mike Tannenbaum here at 18 to Seattle with Tyler Booker at Alabama. I think best like pure guard in the class, just plug-and-play starter and help prevent Sam Darnold from seeing ghosts out there. Tampa at number 19. I like this fit too. Levante David cannot play forever. I question if there is another true long-term starter in this linebacking room that I trust. I think Campbell in a Todd Bowles defense is a really strong fit. LeMarion Hampton out of North Carolina to Denver again. I don't have any complaints here. Need is obvious. Fits, I think, is pretty good. Adding talent, good player. I'm on board with that one. Not on board with this next pick, though. Shamar Stewart at 21. Why? That doesn't make any sense to me. I get that the physical upside is there. This has nothing to do with the potential breakout candidacy of Shamar Stewart or the town or anything. This is a team that has Alex Highsmith, who's pretty darn good. They got really good play from Nick Herbig, and they have T.J. Watt. Why do they need another edge rusher? Because that's what Shamar Stewart's going to be. He's not going to do 5 technique stuff at his weight. I think this pick makes zero sense. Tannenbaum might not know who Nick Herbig is based on his comments. This one makes sense, though, doesn't it? Colston Loveland out of Michigan, the tight end to the Chargers. It's a perfect Jim Harbaugh pick. No complaints there. Siobhan Revell, the ACL tear in his left knee is a red flag, but I think corner is an area of concern. We'll see what ends up happening long-term with Jay Alexander. Kind of surprised he's not been cut yet, frankly. If you trust the medical, I have very few concerns about this pick here at 22 with the Green Bay Packers. Number 24, the Minnesota Vikings, Jahdae Barron. I actually don't know how perfect of a fit he is in the Vikings defense. I have some minor man coverage concern stuff, but he can do inside, outside, safety stuff if you need. I think the talent is really damn good. He's a top 10 player for me in this class. So if Brian Flores thinks he can make him work, hell yeah, let's ride. Kelvin Banks out of Texas. Cam Robinson is not a long-term starter. He's only on a 1-year deal. I need to find a way to protect C.J. Stroud better. No issues there. Jackson Dart. I am not a fan of him at this range. Day 2, late day 2, day 3, sure. Not a complaint at all. That's the right value. But I think that the lack of quarterback talent is going to push somebody up early. And if that's Dart, okay, but he doesn't have elite physical traits. He doesn't. He needs time to grow and develop. I don't want to have a developmental quarterback prospect who, I don't really think has a top 10 ceiling in the NFL. His arm is solid, but when he has to do real quarterback stuff at Ole Miss, it actually wasn't very good. When it wasn't schemed up stuff and vertical shots and play action stuff, the normal QB stuff, I was not impressed by. Now with that said, Sean McVay would probably make Jackson Dart pretty darn good, but I don't need to spend a first-round pick on that as far as I'm concerned. So is Jackson Dart worthy of a first-round pick? Why for yes, N for no, let me know in the comments section of today's show. 27, Mike Green out of Marshall. You got to trust the character stuff here. But I think talent-wise, this is one of the best edges in the class. So getting him at 27 would be a steal for the Ravens. He should go earlier. Malachi Starks, a safety from Georgia out of Detroit. Part of this I get. Classic Lions pick, Tannenbaum says. Versatility, big school. Okay, but he wants to play Malachi Starks at nickel, and I don't think he was nearly as good at nickel as he was at deep safety. So part of it I get, other half, not a huge fan of. Maxwell Harrison here, out of Kentucky, the corner to the Commanders, which I am. The player value range is probably about right, but you have Mikey Sainristil still. You have Marshawn Lattimore. They started and got good play out of Noah Igbinoghene last year, brought him back. They signed Jonathan Jones. I kind of don't think corner is the route the Commanders should be pursuing here. Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State. You have Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Joshua Palmer. Another receiver who, I don't think is an elite level 1, but a good secondary option. Kind of feel like you already have that there. The Chiefs, again, the value here is pretty good. And it's kind of like all these guys. I like the value, more or less. Nick Emenwari, the safety out of South Carolina. Freaky athletes. Depends on how you feel about Jaden Hicks, I think, here. If you are worried about Jaden Hicks, then yeah, you could use a safety. I don't know if the Chiefs are going to invest at this position in round 1. Gray Zabel, the offensive lineman of North Dakota State, to the Philadelphia Eagles at number 32. This could be a replacement for Mekhi Becton, compete with Tyler Steen, too. I think he's an interior offensive lineman in the NFL. Eagles, though, normally go money 5, not always guard in round 1. So grade his mock draft for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Then we'll break down some other players not in Tannenbaum's round 1 mock draft. Now, Luther Burden, I'm a fan of him. I don't get why he's fallen. I think he's awesome. Doesn't make sense to me. Maybe there's something that we don't know going on behind the scenes, but I think he's awesome. I put Ariante Ursery on here because specifically Tannenbaum said that Ursery was his next best offensive tackle. Not sure I buy it, but it's fine. Walter Nolan is inconsistent, so I actually don't mind leaving him off here. Derek Harmon, I am a big fan of. I think Donovan Ezeraku could very well end up going in round 1.